Welcome to Eastern Turkey. I took the really underrated Eastern Express Railway all the way from Ankara, the capital of Turkey, to Erzurum and then Kars in Eastern Turkey. It takes 26 hours and it's one of the most beautiful train journeys in the world. In this episode, I'll be exploring Erzurum, the highest and snowiest city in Turkey, and then taking a train for the last leg to the city of Kars. Good morning. I am picking up right where I left off. Part 1 of the Eastern Express series is already live, so if you haven't watched that yet, do so. But I decided to split it up into two features because they're quite different from each other, and the initial video was quite long by this point. So this is part 2, and today we are exploring the Turkish city of Erzurum, and then we're boarding the Eastern Express again and finishing the journey, which is the last 4 hours, to Kars, which is where it terminates. So we are in Erzurum now. We stayed here last night. This is the highest city in Turkey and it is close to ski resorts, although unfortunately I don't think we're going skiing today. I would love to go skiing. I've been really craving a ski trip recently. But it does look very snowy outside still, so we've got a guide who's going to show us all the attractions, so I'm really looking forward to that. This is a city that not many tourists at all come to, and hardly any international tourists come to, so I'm really looking forward to exploring somewhere a bit different and just seeing what local life is like here. It is also potentially the snowiest city in Turkey, so I have put on quite a few layers. It's about -4 degrees outside, so not too bad. If you watched my Baltics trip, you'll know that I struggled very much in -13 degree temperatures, so this is a bit warmer than that. But got a few layers on, just packing up the room now, and then we're going to go for breakfast, which is included in this hotel. I'll show you around this hotel room actually. This was only I think it was €59, including breakfast, and it's a really nice hotel. Our room is massive, almost doesn't need to be this big, but it is very large. It's a nice modern place. Anyway, I'm just going to finish up packing and then we're going to go down for breakfast. So this part of Turkey, because of its geographical position, has a lot more influences from historical Persia and the Middle East. And it's where, like our guide was saying, it's kind of like a bridge between Asia and Europe. So you'll find lots of Persian-style architecture here. We just had a look around a madrasa, which is a Islamic school, and it dates back to the Ottoman era. And it was really magnificent, really detailed. There were lots of exhibitions inside about Erzurum dress and way of life and their culture and everything, so that was really interesting. Just warming up in the tourist information office because it is rather cold here, and then we're heading back out to see a few more of the sights around. But yeah, I like this city. It's very snowy, and there's a lot of culture, there's a lot of history, and yeah, it's very interesting. And literally the lady from the tourist centre was saying they barely see any non-Turkish tourists. I was just thinking I hadn't heard the call to prayer yet since I'd been in Erzurum, but you should be able to hear it now in the background. We are in the Erzurum Çifte Minareli Madrasa, which I think she said just means double minaret madrasa. So there's 2 minarets here, which are the large towers on madrasas and mosques. And this one all has an open kind of courtyard. It's so snowy. So this was again an Islamic school that was used to teach people about Islam, about the religion, and some other subjects as well, I believe. And yeah, very grand. You can really feel the kind of the Silk Road legacy here, which is very similar to places in Central Asia like Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan. We've got a couple more stops to go to, so I better go find everyone else. So we're just at the top of the minaret at Erzurum Castle. This castle dates back to the 5th century BC, although obviously it wouldn't have been like it is now then. It was adapted by the Byzantines, the Ottomans, and various other groups who passed through this area. And it's still very remarkably well preserved. So we've just climbed all the way to the top of the minaret, and that was quite the challenge given that we're at 1,800 metres altitude. It's good altitude training for Everest Base Camp. So we just climbed to the minaret, and here is the view. going into a trapdoor. An icy trapdoor. Yeah, I will do. This is a small tomb and it's known by the name of Kim Kimme, which means small talkative woman. Don't know any of them. So we're stopping for lunch at this restaurant. It's called Erzurum Evleri, which means Erzurum home, and it is the coolest restaurant. It's full of decorations, art, costumes, all from this area. So let me go in and show you. Ataturk, who's known as the father of the Turks, lived in Erzurum for 1.5 years, so this was his house. This was our last stop in Erzurum. And we are back at the station. So if you saw my last Eastern Express video, you'll know that we finished the train here yesterday, and now we're back again and we're about to board the Eastern Express for the last leg. So we're only doing the last 4 hours now, which go from Erzurum to Kars. The train is about 40 minutes delayed, which isn't too bad considering it's come all the way from Ankara. Hopefully we'll get to see the scenery in a little bit of light, but I think we're going to grab a coffee on the platform and then, yeah, just wait for the train. So the Eastern Express is Turkey's oldest railway line. It dates back to around the First World War, and they built the railroad to be able to get supplies from the USSR in the east. But nowadays it's become quite the tourist train. It's become so popular with domestic tourists that actually the local train sells out, was selling out so quickly. So what they did was they put on this tourist train. So this tourist train stops here in Erzurum and in Erzincan, but it sells out in minutes and it costs about 300 euros. So we did not take this tourist train, we took the local train. The local train does have sleeper cabins still, but it doesn't seem to have as many anymore, so it's also really difficult to get sleeper cabins there. We weren't able to get a sleeper cabin, so we did the whole thing in a seat. Go back and watch my previous video if you haven't already, because yeah, I described the whole experience there. It was okay. Not the best night's sleep, but that was to be expected. But the real perk of that was it only cost about 10 euros as opposed to 300 euros. Anyway, we're waiting at Erzurum station and the tourist train, this train, has just pulled in. So yeah, we just sort of had a little, watched it pull in. It was good to see it at least, but unfortunately we're not getting on it. We're getting back into our seats, but this leg's only 4 hours, so it's not too bad. Our train has arrived.
Ah, number 4.
Yeah. Cool.
Right in front of you.
Perfect. We are on the train in a slightly different style carriage to last time. It's pretty much the same. It's a little bit more modern. The seats look a little bit more modern. It's still in the 2-1 configuration, but we have 2 seats together this time. There are plugs. And other than that, I think it's pretty much the same. Obviously we're only on this one for 4 hours, so probably not going to be sleeping. The toilets are pretty much the same as the previous Eastern Express. There is a squat toilet here, but there's probably a sit-down toilet elsewhere, but I just use the squat one. Oh, actually, it looks like there's... Ooh. That was a jolt. It looks like there is a sit-down toilet actually next to our carriage, but it was locked when I walked past. But yeah, just boarded, sat down, we showed our tickets on PDF, that was fine, and yeah, that's pretty much all. It was delayed by about 45 minutes in the end, which, to be fair, given that it's come all the way from Ankara and it's been travelling for 22 hours by this point, isn't that bad. Really, really snowy, so I'm just enjoying. Look at this, look at this. I mean, that's not gleam, that is just snow. I thought I'd just hop into an empty seat and just show it to you. I did show it in my last video, the seat that I had then, and it's pretty much the same. But in case you haven't seen the last video, this one, like I said, this one is slightly nicer, and it seems to just be luck of the draw whether you have one of the newer carriages or one of the older carriages. So, this is the seat. It does recline a little bit, but only a little, like about as much as aeroplane seats recline. I won't recline now because there's someone behind me. And then turning around, we've got a tray table here. It's quite a big tray table actually, fit quite a lot on. Then we've got a little pocket here and a foot stand there. And then on this one we do have a plug, but like I said, there's not plugs on every train, so don't rely on there being a plug, because there wasn't for us last time, so definitely bring a power bank. I am feeling absolutely knackered. I guess I haven't really caught up with the night sleeping on the train, and I was on a night bus like 2 nights before that, so yeah, feeling pretty tired, but I don't think we're too far away from Kars now. Probably an hour and a half, something like that. It's 8 o'clock. I think it was meant to take 4 to 4.5 hours, and we were nearly an hour delayed, so yeah, if the maths is mathing, I think it's around an hour or an hour and a half to go. Unfortunately, you can't see much of the scenery anymore because it is very dark, but it has been beautiful, and I'm very, very glad we've done this, even if we didn't have a sleeper, which I'm still a bit sad about, but I'll stop complaining soon. The sit-down toilet seems to be perpetually locked, so had to make do with the squat toilet, but it's alright. Once you get used to them, they're not too bad. It is so warm in that cabin. Every time I come outside, I'm just like, it's cold out here. Anyway, we are really, really close to Kars now. I think everyone seems to be getting ready to depart the train, but this is the last stop, so don't have to worry about the train going off and us not being ready. But yeah, we are on the approach to Kars now. Should only be a few more minutes, and then we are actually staying at the Kars Konak Hotel, which is somewhere I've actually stayed before. Last time I was in Kars, stayed at the same place. So from memory, it's about a 10-minute walk from the station, so not too bad. I think we're here. I think we've arrived. Thank you so much for watching this video. We just arrived in Kars and then I went straight to sleep, but do stay tuned for a vlog of our entire time in Kars. And it is a very underrated Turkish city, so please subscribe if you're interested in seeing that, and see you next time. Bye!